So, hello everyone, and welcome to online education of Sir C.R. Reddy College of Engineering. So, in the last class, we have seen one of the classification of hydrothermal scheduling, which is based on energies theoretically. Now, in this class, we'll go for one by one. The first one is quick recall of the first algorithm. So, already we have seen the first algorithm in the last class. So, in this class, let's go for a fast recall of the first algorithm. So, once it is completed, let's try to do a simple problem based upon the first algorithm. So once it is completed, I will ask very simple question. You may consider this one as a hypothetical question, or some people may consider this one as a practical question. So that's why this is the program of the today class. First, let's consider the first topic, that is a quick recall of the first algorithm. So when you consider any algorithm, first we need to assume some of the points. In the first algorithm itself, we assumed 3 points. What are those 3 assumptions? These 3 assumptions, the first one is nothing but related to the capacity. Ideal capacity is more when compared to the load capacity. That is nothing but first assumption. Second assumption is nothing but related to the energy. Ideal energy is unable to meet the load energy. This is nothing but we assumed in a second point. And coming to the third point, or we can say third assumption, whatever the shortage of energy is there, that energy is going to supplied by the thermal energy. So this is nothing but our third assumption. So by using 3 assumptions, we did a small derivation in the last class. And second point is, already I have shown you one graph yesterday. So what's that graph? Let's see. That is nothing but a load curve. So when you see here load curve, your x-axis is nothing but time axis, whereas your y-axis is nothing but a load. But what information we can get from this curve, or what information we can extract from this curve is, when you observe a time axis or x-axis, this is a 0 and maximum time is Tmax. How we can represent maximum time with the Tmax or a capital T? So from 0 to Tmax, we are considering a load. We're considering a load. So out of the total time, one more time period is there, that is from 0 to Ts. From 0 to Ts. Now here we need to understand how many power plants are there here. 2 types of power plants are there. Hydro power plant and similarly a steam or thermal power plant is there. Now we need to understand how these power plants combinedly meet the load. When you are considering hydro power plant, easily we can understand that whatever the top line is there, this curve is nothing but load. When you see a hydro power plant, it is continuously operating from starting to a maximum time. That means from 0 to Tmax. But coming to the steam power plant or thermal power plant, it is operating only from 0 to Ts, or we can say Tt. Already told you that either you can represent Ts or Tt, both are same. Ts, S means steam, T means thermal. Okay, either you can use Ts or you can use Tt also. When you are seeing a thermal power plant, it is operating only from a 0 to Ts or 0 to Tt. When you see the hydro power plant, it is operating from 0 to Tmax. But when you are considering from Ts to Tmax in this period means from Ts to Tmax, only hydro power plant is in operating condition. So once again, I'm repeating, from 0 to Ts, both the power plants are in operating condition. Idle power plant at the same time, thermal power plant or a steam power plant. But after Ts, in this period, only idle power plant is in operating condition. So this is what information we can get from this load curve. And one more important thing is, when you observe the steam power plant characteristics, from 0 to Ts, we can get the power from the thermal power plant, and how much power it is, only PS star, or we can say PGT star, both are same. Either you can use PS star or we can use PGT star, both are same. So when you observe these characteristics in this time period, that is from 0 to Ts, thermal power plant is producing same amount of power, or we can say constant amount of power, that is nothing but PS star, or we can use PGT star. So when you see here, this is nothing but a constant power at constant incremental fuel cost. Already we have seen in the last class. So this is nothing but information from the load curve. So from this load curve, what is our objective? What are the parameters we need to find out? So already I told you that when we are considering any hydrothermal coordination or any optimal scheduling, first of all, we need to find out the power values. How much power is produced by the hydropower plant? Similarly, how much power is produced by the steam power plant? That is nothing but PGT at the same time PGH. PGT means how much power is generated in thermal power plant. Similarly, PGH means how much power is generated in hydropower plant. And PGT is also called as PS star in this particular load curve, the SIP. So our target in this one is, first we need to find out PGT at the same time PGH. This is during normal conditions. But when you are considering with the hydropower plant, the most important parameter is time. So that's why along with the power generations, we need to find out the time periods also. That is nothing but TT at the same time TH. TT or TS both are same. So what it represents, TT or TS, how much time the thermal power plant is in operating condition. Similarly, TH means how much time only hydropower plant is in operating condition. That is nothing but TH. So along with the PGT and PGH, we need to find out TT at the same time TH, because when we are considering a scheduling along with the hydropower plant, definitely we must consider the time parameter also. This is one of the important parameter, because when you are considering the hydropower plant, the most important constraint is water availability. So water availability, when we are talking about water availability, definitely we should talk about timing also, because we don't have water availability throughout the time of the period. So water availability may be present in some of the period, it may not be present in some of the period. So that's why we must consider a time period. So our target in this algorithm is, we need to find out PGT at the same time PGH, at the same time we need to find out TT at the same time TH. So once again I am repeating, PGT means power generated in thermal plant, PGH means power generated in hydropower plant. And coming to the timings, this is TT and TH. TT means for how much time thermal power plant is in operating condition. TH means how much time idle power plant is producing the power. Understood? So this is nothing but a quick recall of the first algorithm. So already we have done the same derivation. Already we have found that what is the formula for PGT. So once if you know the PGT value, easily we can find out PGH value from the load demand. So once if you know these two, and we have seen how to find out TT at the same time TH also. So already we have seen in the last class. Now based upon this one, let's try to solve a simple problem. And this is very, very important problem. And for the sake of your university examination, this algorithm is not so important. But why I am covering this topic is sometimes it asked in the previous PSU's examinations. So that's why I'm covering this topic. Now let's try to understand how to solve this problem. So this is nothing but a given problem. So all of you read this problem. Take a moment, then read this problem. So all of you must read this problem. So let's try to take this problem. A hydro plant and thermal plant supplying a constant load of 100 megawatts. So your load power is nothing but 100 megawatts. And the time is 1 week. If you convert this week into hours, we'll get 168 hours. It is given in this problem itself, 168 hours. And along with this data, PD and time, we have characteristics are there for hydropower plant and similarly for thermal power plant. And these are the characteristics for the hydropower plant, and these are the characteristics of the thermal power plant. And along with this, one more data is there, that is to determine the schedule. So schedule means, already we know, schedule means how much power is generated by the thermal power plant. Similarly, how much power is generated by the hydropower plant. So in order to find out this schedule, we need to consider some of the parameters. The first one is nothing but, if the hydro plant energy is limited to 12,000 megawatt hour. Means already they have given hydro energy. What is the hydro energy? It is nothing but 12,000 megawatt hour. This is first case. And coming to the second case, the volume of the water which is drawn is limited up to 3.2 into 10 power 8 meter cube. So we need to solve the scheduling problem. Means we need to find out PGT, PGH, at the same time duration of the TT, at the same time TH also. Our target is we need to find out 4 parameters. What are those 4 parameters? First we need to find out PGH and PGT. At the same time we need to find out timings also. That is TT at the same time TH. By considering these 2 cases. So first case is nothing but if hydro energy is equal to 12,000 megawatt hour, and the second one is if the volume of the water is equal to 3.2 into 10 power 8 meter cube. So this is nothing but a given problem. So from this, what we need to find out? So first of all, we need to find out the power scheduling, means PGH at the same time PGT. So after, once it is completed, we need to find out the time periods also. That is nothing but TT and TH. So how to find out? Take a moment and think of it. How to solve this problem? Everybody. So first let us consider first bit. First bit means the hydro energy is equal to 12,000 megawatt hour. Then try to solve this problem. Just all of you, everybody, take a moment and think of it. How to solve this problem? So what is given in this problem? And what is the parameter we need to find out? Okay, so let's go for solution. The first one is write the given data. Write the given data. So already got one message. 253, that is PGT star. Of course, PGT star and PGT are both are same in this case. Okay, representation is different. Both are same. So first write the given data. So what is the given data here? That is, the first one is load. So what is the value of load here? Load is equals to 100 megawatts. That is first given data. And the second one is time period. So what is the total time period what we are considering here? 1 week of time. So if you convert this 1 week into hours, then we will get here 168 hours. And one more given data is the characteristics of the hydropower plant and a thermal power plant. This is nothing but a Q is nothing but discharge, or you can say volume of the water. So it is given by a Q. And similarly, the characteristics of the thermal power plant. So these 2 are given in this problem. And next one is, the first bit is when idle energy is equal to 12,000 megawatt hour. And the second one is when Q is nothing but a volume of the water, or you can say discharge, is equals to 3.2 into 10 power 8 meter cube. So for these 2 cases, we need to find out 4 parameters. What are those parameters? PGH and PGT and TT and TH. PGH means power generated in idle power plant. PGT means power generated in thermal power plant. It is also called as, or you can represent this one as PS star also, or PGT star. Both are same. Okay, you can write PGT, or you can write PGT star, or you can write PS star. All are same. So once if these 2 are completed, then go for the finding of TT at the same time TH. TT means how much time thermal power plant is in operating condition, and TH means how much time the hydropower plant is producing the power. So we need to find out these 4 parameters by considering the case 1 and similarly case 2. Please all of you solve this problem and put your answers in our chat box. Quickly. So in the last class itself, we have seen the formulas for PGT and TT itself. So first find out PGT. So how to find out PGT? We have one formula is there, that is nothing but root over A by C, where A and C are nothing but simply a constants. You can get those constants from the characteristics of the thermal power plant. Similarly, once it is completed, easily you can calculate PGH value because we know here a load value. Load power is nothing but the summation of these two powers, PGT plus PGH. So once if these two are completed, then go for finding out the TT. So what is the formula for TT? Already we have one formula is there. We have derived in the last class, that is E by PGT star. So already we know the PGT star, and what is the value of E? E is nothing but thermal energy. But we don't know here what is the value of thermal energy. But we know here ideal energy is there. Similarly, from the given data, we can calculate load energy. When you subtract this ideal energy from the load energy, you will get here thermal energy. When you know the thermal energy, at the same time when you know the PGT star, easily you can calculate TT value. Once you know the value of TT value, you can calculate TH value. So this is nothing but the procedure for this problem. So all of you solve this problem and put your answers in our chat box. Yes, I'm getting the answers. 18 series 214 is saying that PGT is equals to 47.67. Or one more person is saying that 18 series 53 is saying that PGT is equals to 50 megawatts. And 17 series B8 is saying that PGH and PGT is equals to 50 megawatts and 50 megawatts for each. Yes, very good. Some people are giving the response. Please, all of you try to solve this problem very easy. First, find out PGT. What is the formula for PGT? It is nothing but root over A by C. It is nothing but root over A by C, where A and C are nothing but constants. You can get these constants from the characteristics of the thermal power plant. This is A and this is C. Substitute this A is equals to 55 and C equals to 0.022. Then you will get PGT star. Tell me PGT star value. This is formula for PGT star, and the formula for TT is E by PGT star, where E is nothing but thermal energy and PGT star is nothing but this one, thermal power plant generation. So when you substitute PGT star is equals to root over A by C, when you substitute A and C values, then tell me PGT star value. Yes, very good. 221 is saying that 50. Roll number 53 is also giving the response of 50 megawatts. Very good. One more person. Roll number 53 is saying that PGT is 50, PGH is also 50, but TT is also giving the response. That is 220. The total time is nothing but 160 hours. But how you got it here? 220? Total time period is itself is nothing but 168 hours. Just recheck your answers. Yes, so many persons are giving the response that the power is equals to 50 megawatts. So let's see the answers. So when you substitute A and C values, you will get here 50 megawatts. Okay, and when you know the PGT, easily we can calculate hydropower. That is nothing but the total demand minus PGT star. What is the total demand here? 100 megawatts. And what is the value of PGT star here? We got just 50 megawatts here. So 100 minus 50 is nothing but 50 megawatts. So PGT is 50 megawatts and PGH is also 50 megawatts. This is nothing but a scheduling. Okay. Next, let us try to find out TT value. It is given by E by PGT star. We know PGT star, that is nothing but 50 megawatts. But how to find out E value? We don't know the value of E. E is nothing but thermal energy. So again, use energy balance equation. What is the energy balance equation? Load energy is equals to ideal energy plus thermal energy. We know ideal energy and we can calculate a load energy. So from those two parameters, easily we can calculate thermal energy. So that's why find out thermal energy and substitute in this one and tell me TT value. So what is the load energy? How do you calculate your load energy? Load energy is nothing but a load power into time. So already we know the power value, that is nothing but 100 megawatts and the time is nothing but 168 hours. Just to multiply those two parameters. And ideal energy is also there. It is known in the given problem. So substitute these two and find out thermal energy. So once you do it, then you will get here 4,800 megawatt hour. This is nothing but a thermal energy. So substitute this energy in this formula and we know the PGT star and calculate TT value. Tell me TT value in our chat box. Yes, BAT is saying that TT value is 96 and TH is 72 hours. Very good. 53 is also saying that 96 hours. Of course, everybody is saying that 96 hours, TT value. So once you know the TT value, find out TH value. So how you can find out TH value? Subtract TT value from total time period. Then you will get TH value. So this is a TT value, that is E by PGT star. When you substitute E value and PGT star, then you will get TT value is 96 hours. Then how to get TH value? TH value is nothing but it is total time period minus TT value. It is nothing but 72 hours. This 72 hours is nothing but only hydropower plant time duration. Only hydropower plant. So in these 72 hours, what about your thermal power plant? It is nothing but not producing any power. So already we have seen in the load curve itself. From 0 to TS or TT, both the power plants in operating condition. That is, in 96 hours, both the power plants in operating condition. But in 72 hours, that means from TT to Tmax, that period we can call it as a TH value. So in this period, only hydropower plant is in producing condition or producing power. So this is the meaning of this problem. Then how to represent the entire problem graphically? For example, if you are considering the time axis, let us consider a time 0 and 96 hours is nothing but first time period. From 0 to 96 hours, first time period, and 96 to remaining time, it is nothing but a second period. This is nothing but 72 hours. 168 minus 96 is nothing but 72 hours. When you are considering first slot, that is from 0 to 96 hours, both the power plants are producing the power. Means idle power plant is producing the power. Similarly, thermal power plant is also producing the power. But coming to the second slot, that is from 96 hours to 168 hours, only hydropower plant is producing the power. So in this case, in this slot, thermal power plant is not producing the power. Then how to represent this one? Like this. When you are considering the first slot, that is from 0 to 96, both the power plants in operating condition, and already we have seen just now, thermal power plant is producing power of 50 megawatts. Similarly, idle power plant is also producing a power of 50 megawatts. So combinedly, total power is nothing but 100 megawatts. It is nothing but load power itself. So we can meet load by the usage of thermal at the same time idle. And similarly, coming to the second slot. What is the second slot here? From 96 hours to 168 hours. That is nothing but duration of 72 hours. So in these 72 hours, only idle power plant is producing the power. How much power it has to produce? It has to produce whatever the power is there in the load state, the same amount of must be produced by the idle power plant. Because practically we need to meet the load. PG must be equal to PD. But in case of second slot, from 96 to 168 hours, only idle power plant is producing the power. Thermal power plant is not at all producing any power. So that's why idle power is must produce 100 megawatts of power. So this is nothing but the conclusion of this problem when we are taking only case 1. Case 1 means when idle energy is equal to 12,000 megawatt hour. This is a solution when we are considering only case 1. Now let's try to do the same analysis by considering the second case. What is the second case here? Volume of the water is equal to 3.2 into 10 power 8 meter cube. So by considering the second case, again we need to find out all the parameters, PGH, PGT, TT and TH value. So how to find out? Just to find out these parameters and put your answers in our chat box. So how to find out PGT value? So already I told you in the last class when we are doing the derivation, PGT star formula is root over A by C. Means it is completely depends upon A value and C value. Those are constant values. If those constant values, automatically PGT is also a constant value. So that's why in this case also your PGT value is nothing but same value. So once PGT is equals to 50 megawatts, then what about your PGH? PGH also is nothing but 50 megawatts only, because our load power is constant, that is nothing but 100 megawatts. So that's why in this case, PGT star is same value. Similarly, PGH is also a same value, means 50 megawatts and 50 megawatts. But here the problem is how to find out TT value and TH value. That is very, very important. Now tell me how to find out TT value and TH value. In the first case one, we have used TT equals to E by PGT star, where E is nothing but thermal energy. But here, when we are considering the second case, this problem is not at all related to the hydro energy or thermal energy. This problem is related to the volume of the water. So, with the usage of the volume of the water, how we can find TT at the same time TH? That is a problem in the second case. Now tell me how to find out TT value and TH value. So let's have a look at this one. So how to get the values, that is Q, TT and TH value is, Q is nothing but the characteristics of the ideal power plant, and one more given data is there, that is case 2, that is Q is equals to 3.2 into 10 power 8 meter cube. So both are same only. This is also Q value and this is also Q value. But when you are considering the units here, this is present in terms of meter cube per second, but this is in presence of meter cube. So how to use these two given data? So we must use this given data. How to use this given data? For example, first, let me take this Q value. Let me take this Q value. And if you want to equate these two, this Q and this Q, the units must be same. The units must be same. But here the units are meter cube. Here the units are meter cube per second. So that's why I want to convert this meter cube per second into meter cube. Then automatically I can equate this Q and this Q. So how to convert? So this is a meter cube per second. Convert first meter cube per second into meter cube per hour. So already we know 1 hour is nothing but 60 into 60 seconds, 3600 seconds. So when you substitute here, you will get like this. Okay, you can rewrite this equation as Q equals to 110 plus 5.1 PGH into 3600 into meter cube per hour. Means what I did in this case is I just converted from second into hours. Then you need to multiply with 3600. So this is meter cube per hour. Then again one more task is, next step is I need to convert this meter cube per hour into meter cube. So then what I need to do is I need to multiply with the time. For example, let's consider this Q value. This Q is present in meter cube per hour. So how you can convert this meter cube per hour into meter cube? We need to convert meter cube per hour into meter cube by taking a multiplication of factor in terms of time. When you multiply with time, then automatically you can get 8 meter cube. So how to solve this problem is, I am taking a total volume and is dividing into two parts, that is V1 and V2. V1 is nothing but volume of the water in first case. First case means when both the power plants in operating condition. And V2 is nothing but, this is the volume of the water in the second slot. Second slot means only hydro power plant is in operating condition. So V1 is nothing but volume of the water in the first slot. The first slot means when both the power plants are generating the power. V2 is nothing but volume of the water in the second slot. Second slot means only hydro energy is producing the power. So let us try to understand what is the time period in the first slot and the second slot. So already we know how to represent the time slot when both the power plants are operating. That is nothing but TT. First slot representation is TT and the second slot representation is total time is 168. When you subtract the first slot, then automatically you can get second slot. That is nothing but 168 minus TT. This is nothing but time periods. When you multiply these time periods with the Q, then automatically you can convert this Q from meter cube per hour into meter cube. So that is the job we need to do here. So like this you will get here. So this is a Q value, actual Q value. This is 3.2 into 10 power 8 meter cube. And in these two steps, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to multiply this TT at the same time this Q. When you are considering this Q, PGH is there. What is the PGH value? When we are considering the first slot, it is nothing but 50 megawatts only. So that's why I'm taking PGH value is 50 megawatts. Everything is same. 110 plus 5.1 into, what is the value of PGH here in the first slot? 50 megawatts. Into, we need to multiply with time. So what is the time period here? TT value. Plus, same thing. This is nothing but V2, volume of the water. So that's why I'm taking volume of the water. 110 plus 5.1 into PGH. What is the value of PGH in the second slot? PGH means power generated by the idle power plant. So what is the PGH in the second slot? That is nothing but 100. Because in the second slot, thermal power plant is not at all producing any power. So that's why the total amount of power is to be produced by the idle power plant. So that's why this PGH is nothing but 100. Into 3600. What is the time duration here? 168 minus TT. So once if you understand this Q and this Q, what I'm going to here, I am equating these two volume of the water. That's it. And easily we can find out TT value from this equation. And solve this equation and tell me TT value quickly. Tell me TT value. Just put your answers in our chat box. TT value. Solve this equation and tell me TT value in our chat box. Yes, I got the message that is from A4, it is around 58. So let's see the answer for TT value. So when you solve this equation, you will get TT value is 59.88 hours. 59.88 hours. So when you know here TT value, then automatically you can calculate TH value. So how to calculate total time period minus TT value? Then you will get here 108.12 hours. Similarly, how to represent the total solution in one diagram is, let us consider here time axis, that is from 0 to total time period 0. The first slot is nothing but 59.88 and the second slot is nothing but from 59.88 hours to 168 hours. When you are considering the first slot, both the power plants in operating condition means your PGH is 50 megawatts and PGT is also 50 megawatts. But when you are considering the second slot, that is from 59.88 hours to 168 hours, means in the time of 108.12 hours, only hydropower plant is producing the power. How much power it is producing? 100 megawatts. So this is nothing but the solution of the case 2. So like this, we can solve any type of problem when we are considering the algorithm 1. But you may think that if you are considering, it may not be possible, especially in India, because when you are considering here, idle power plant is producing 100 megawatts, that is from 59.88 to 168 hours. Throughout the time period, from 0 to 168 hours, idle power plant is in operating condition. But in India, we are giving a lot of importance to the thermal power plant. Thermal power plant generation is far more when compared to the hydel power generation. So that's why this type of problem may not be possible in India. But if you consider some of the countries as Norway and Switzerland, this problem may be possible. Why it is not possible in India? In India, we are giving most of the importance to thermal nowadays also. Still, nowadays also we are giving, already I have shown how much power is going to produce by the thermal, how much power is going to produce by the hydel. So that's why it is not possible. It is nothing but a rare case or a special case in the first algorithm. Okay, so this is the solution for this problem. And let us move to a last topic, that is our last question. You may think, some of the people may think that this one is a hypothetical question, and some of the people may think that it is a practical question. And the most important happy news for you is, if time permits, I will tell you the answer also for this one, because almost we have 10 minutes are there. Okay, so if the time period is, definitely I will tell you the solution for this one also, answer for this. My question is, if losses are zero, theoretically, what is the efficiency? You may consider any system or any machine. Theoretically, if losses are zero, then what is the efficiency? Yes, I'm getting the responses. That is nothing but 100%. Theoretically, or we can say ideally, in ideal cases. If losses are zero, efficiency of any system or machine is nothing but 100%. We are very much familiar to this point. But my question here it is, practically if losses are zero, what is the efficiency of the system? You may consider any system or you may consider any machine, whether it is a DC machine or AC machine, whatever it is, you may consider any system or any machine. If losses are zero practically, then efficiency is how much? Yes, I am getting the messages. That is 18 series 253 is saying that 99.9% or 99.8%. That is ideal case or a practical case? Tell me, if the losses are zero, then what is the value of efficiency? Practically, okay. 53 is saying that practically if the losses are zero, is saying that 99.9% or 99.8%. And one more person is saying that 18 series 226 is saying that 100%. And the most important point is, if the losses are zero, simply we can say efficiency is 100%. So without thinking any point, if the losses are zero, then automatically efficiency is 100%. Generally, most of the people will say like this. But the most important point, what we need to understand from this question is, there is a slight difference is there between the first part at the same time second part. First part is nothing but I am saying theoretically, and the second part I am saying practically. Practically, if the losses are zero, you may think that, sir, practically it is not possible, sir. How the losses are zero in the practical case? So that's why some of the people may think this question as a hypothetical question. Of course, you may think, you may consider like that hypothetical question. But definitely, I will provide the answer for this question by taking a most practical example. Now, tell me first the answer for this one. At least try to guess the answer. 18 series 226 is there in that 100%. 2B1 is nothing but saying that efficiency is zero. I got some different answer. Now elaborate your answers. B1 and similarly 97. 97 is also very good. Is also saying that practically it is zero. Some people are saying that 100%. Some people are saying that in between 0 to 100%. And some people are saying that efficiency is zero. Try to understand the norms theoretically at the same time practically. This is very much familiar. Even a small kid also can say that theoretically or ideally if the losses are zero, then efficiency is nothing but 100%. Blindly we can say that. But I'm asking, if the losses are zero, practically, what would be the efficiency? Yes, some people are saying that 80 to 90%. Now, before going to reveal the answer, let me ask one more question. That is, what is the purpose of teaching? Because when we are considering teaching during normal days, we are spending almost from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock in our college. Means almost 33% of our life we are coordinating. You at the same time ourselves. 8 hours means almost 1/3 of life, 33% of life we are coordinating for some purpose. What is that purpose? What is the purpose of teaching? Anyone tell me? During abnormal conditions also we are spending 4 hours a day. It is nothing but a coordination between you and ourselves. So what is the purpose of teaching, or what is the purpose of having or spending this much of time? To take the attendance? Certainly not. Then for completion of the syllabus? It is also not. For monitoring the candidates? It's also not there. Or something else. Why we need to spend that much of time? Is there any purpose? Yes, definitely there should be some purpose. What's that purpose? Sharing knowledge. Yes, I am getting the response, that is sharing knowledge or acquire knowledge, gain knowledge, clear doubts, bright future of country, help students to gain knowledge. So these are some of the responses I'm getting from your side. And one more person is purpose is to get clarity on education. Still somebody else, please give the response for this question. And one more person is 226 is saying that according to me, teaching is to educate people and to improve their vision of the world. Very good. I got some different answer. Teacher is a preacher. Of course, I'm not asking a quotation, but one more thing is to learn something new. 53 is saying that. To make the students get in straight line and also to make the students intellectual better. 61 is saying that to know a knowledge, to get the knowledge. So these are some of the responses I'm getting from your side. And one more person is saying that B8 is saying that to build a foundation for our future goals. So let's see, whatever the points you are saying, yes, all those are correct only. Even these are also nothing but correct only. We are taking the attendance and we are going to try to complete the syllabus and we are monitoring also. But these are not main objectives. These are not main objectives. These are nothing but auxiliaries. But what is the main objective for teaching? What is the main objective of teaching? Is to improve the thinking power of the candidates. Definitely teaching is nothing but one of the process in which the candidates must improve the thinking power. So like this, we need to teach. So that's why I'm asking some of the questions in the name of hypothetical questions or gift questions or common sense questions like this. So when I put some of the questions in front of you, definitely you may think. So once you think, that automatically your thinking power may increase. So that is the main purpose of the teaching. So without improving the thinking power, if you are able to complete the syllabus, then automatically there will be no use. So finally you will get the marks. But what will be the use of the marks when you don't do the proper thinking? So that's why the main objective for this is improve the thinking power. So this is what is the purpose of teaching, and let's move to the answer for the previous question now. The answer is, yes, I'm going to reveal the answer very first time. The answer is 0. The answer is 0. Why? And I can explain the answer for this question by taking a simple example. You can understand very clearly. I'm assuming one person here. And if I say that, if I give some task to that person, that is, move from Eluru to Vijayawada. This is the task which is I'm going to give to this particular candidate. And now his target is, he need to move from Eluru to Vijayawada. Let us assume initially has 0 energy. Initially has 0 energy. So for this, what I'm going to provide is some amount of energy in terms of 5 apples. I am providing here 5 apples. Then I will say, eat 5 apples and gain some energy. And with that energy, do my task. What is the task here? He has to move from Eluru to Vijayawada. That is the task he is going to do. So now he has eaten all the 5 apples and he gained some amount of energy. So with that energy only, he is going to Vijayawada from Eluru. So this is nothing but when he is present at Eluru. Similarly, when he come to the Vijayawada, if I measure the amount of energy which is possessed by this candidate, I may not get the energy which is equivalent to 5 apples. I may get 4 apples or 3 apples or 2 apples, whatever it is. If we assume 4 apples, this is in the case of Vijayawada. This is at the position of Eluru. So when this candidate is present in Eluru, the amount of energy which is possessed by this candidate is nothing but equivalent of 5 apples. And coming to Vijayawada, when I measure the same energy which is possessed by this candidate is equivalent to only 4 apples. So what happened to a remaining 1 apple? Is nothing but when he want to travel from Eluru to Vijayawada, he has to utilize some amount of energy. How much energy is utilizing in this case? The energy which is equivalent to 1 apple. He has utilized some amount of energy and that energy is equivalent to 1 apple. So that's why at the end I got only the energy which is equivalent to only 4 apples. So whatever the 1 apple is there, that apple is utilized by this candidate to complete the task. What is the task here? Traveling from Eluru to Vijayawada. But whatever the utilized energy is there by this candidate, we are saying the loss. Because at the end, we are not getting a total amount of energy. So that's why we are saying that energy is called as a loss. But when you see the practically, that energy is going to be wasted or that energy is going to be utilized by the candidate. He is utilized by the candidate in order to complete the task. For example, if you not utilized the same amount of energy, means in the initial stage, if you have the 5 apples, and at the end also if you have the 5 apples, then automatically there will be no wastage of the energy, or there is no utilization of energy by this candidate. So in that case, is there any chance for completion of the task? No chance, because initially he has 0 energy. Once if he is unable to utilize the energy, then automatically he cannot move from Eluru to Vijayawada. So once he cannot move from Eluru to Vijayawada, then automatically what is the task here? What is the output here? 0. Once output is equals to 0, what is the efficiency here? 0. So like this, we can understand our previous example. Similarly, in machines also, whatever the last power is, we are going to get while we are solving the problems, that is not going to be wasted. That power is going to be utilized by the machine. But at the end of the customer, at the end or in point of the customer, we are calling that one as a loss, because we are selfish people. Whatever the input is there, we can expect the same amount of energy at the end also. So that's why we are calling that utilized energy by the candidate or by the machine or by the system is called as a loss. Okay. And if you have any doubts in this one, you can ask me now. Yes, very good. I'm getting the response, the same response almost from B1 also. So this is the answer for this question. Understood, everybody? So with this, let me wind up today's class. And thank you very much.